is up, Egg?
I think we're good to go. It's been a couple weeks, so we're a little rusty.
You know what I think the funny part is the a lot of the radio guys, whether it's national or local, take these 2 weeks off too. And just, for the holidays, and I feel like a lot happened, and no one was able to talk about it except for, the backups.
Yeah, they had, the C and D teams on.
None
People
of them,
I've never even heard of on the sports
They just bring anyone. And then a couple big things kind of happened, and there was no one there to talk about it.
There's so much we missed, so much to talk about. We should get right into it. We're baseball guys, so let's talk a little bit about baseball.
Yep.
The Hall of Fame inductees were announced yesterday, and Griffey and Mike Piazza, Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Piazza got voted in. Where do we start? So Ken Griffey Jr. is a no-brainer, right?
No doubter.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, 100%.
But let's talk about Griffey first. Okay, Mike Piazza. You're a catcher.
Yep.
You have catching in your blood. Mike Piazza, does he strike you as one of the best catchers of all time?
Best hitting catcher ever.
Okay.
Best offensive catcher. Defensively, no.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Does that make him a Hall of Famer if he's an above average? Okay, so a 62nd round draft pick.
Yep.
They don't
even have 62 rounds anymore. They only go up to 50.
That is amazing that there's 62 rounds of anything. But he was a 62nd round draft pick. Was essentially drafted out of a favor to Tommy Lasorda because
they related
somehow.
Yep. Distant too, not my grandson. It was distant,
like a friend of a friend, brother.
Yeah.
And so I bring up the defensive thing because he was an above average offensive player in an era where people questioned whether or not it was all done naturally.
Yep.
So I was surprised he got in, and to me, I don't know. What do you think?
I was a little surprised for him to get in. Now the question becomes: does it open the door for guys that questionable steroid guys, guys that might have been people thought did it?
But is Piazza a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I think so. Now here's the thing: is you got to his offensive numbers behind the plate were so good. 'Cause think about it, he still got beat up. He was okay defensively. That's the difference. If he took his numbers and put him at first base, he's probably not a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
But you probably don't get as beat up. You're probably more apt to do some things because you're not as you're always behind the plate. It's not always 110 degrees and you're catching.
To get ahead of ourselves, but Ivan Rodriguez, is he a Hall of Famer to you?
Was he ever on any lists or anything?
He might have been on that list that wasn't a list that somehow leaked out, which I don't even know if it was accurate.
Yeah.
Had 103 names on it. I think he might have been on it, but just by the eyeball test, I think when he ended up in Detroit, towards the end of his career, he was as skinny as a rail.
Yep.
Kind of lost all his muscle.
Yep.
Singles hitter.
He was much better defensively than Piazza, and obviously had one of the best arms in the game.
So to me, Pudge Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer.
Yes, to answer your question, I would go
Mike
there.
Piazza, to me, is not a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I think he was defensively, he was absolutely terrible. And
there was times where he was borderline terrible behind the plate.
Like you shouldn't be catching.
Yeah.
Now, do I give him credit for taking a beating and for being a big guy standing behind the plate or squatting behind the plate? And taking a beating.
Sometimes it looked like he was standing.
Yeah. And but I just have to me. I mean, how many home runs did he have? He didn't have 500.
He didn't even get to 400.
He didn't get to 400.
No, it was 379, but it's the most ever by a catcher.
He's not a Hall of Famer to me. I don't know. Just the era where we live in, where home runs.
And he was in the steroid era too. So the balls were flying out of the ballpark.
So when you think of Mike Piazza, what do you think of? Because a few things come to mind. Wow, a little rusty. Getting traded to the Florida Marlins for
a day,
literally 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, that comes to mind.
Yep.
His home run in the World Series. I think it was the World Series. No, it was the game after 9/11.
Yes, correct.
He hit I think he might have been the game-winning home run.
Yes, yep, against the Braves in Shea Stadium.
That comes to mind.
Yep.
Roger Clemens hitting him in the head with a pitch.
Yep.
Then Roger Clemens throwing a broken baseball bat at him.
Correct.
That comes to mind.
The point is you don't think of anything spectacular.
He was a good offensive hitting catcher.
Yep.
So I have a couple of theories on Mike Piazza, and you brought it up earlier. Like, does this open the floodgates for the guys who were not sure? Let me throw this out at you. That he gets voted in, and I don't have TV anymore, so I don't know if he's come out and talked to the media. You would know. Has he?
I watched a little something. It was very, very basic. They certainly didn't throw any hard-hitting questions at him.
Yeah, like, how do you feel? Are you excited?
Yeah, you excited?
What hat are you going to wear? Do you think he should wear a Mets hat?
He's going in as a Met.
You think he should?
That's a good question. And I want to look at the numbers to see how they break down.
Do you think maybe – because the players can choose, right?
The players can choose, but ultimately the Baseball Hall of Fame is the final say.
So if the Marlins went to him and said, we'll give you $1 million to wear a Marlins cap.
And he said, I want to wear a Marlins cap, they'd be like, no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Now, if he had picked a Dodgers hat, then they'd probably be okay with it because at least he played a decent amount of,
The other thing I remember about Piazza, too, is his last couple years in Oakland and San Diego where he wasn't wearing number 31. I think the Padres, he might have wore 33.
Yep.
And I just remember him can't run, can't move.
He actually caught in San Diego. I think in Oakland he was just a DH.
Did he finish in Oakland?
Yeah. But he actually caught in San Diego, and it wasn't pretty. Okay,
so let's play the game where people question whether or not he did it legitimately, right?
Yep.
Whether or not he did it clean.
Yeah.
He's been voted in.
Correct.
Enshrinement is in July.
Done.
Between now and then.
Something comes out.
No, he comes out and says, yeah, I did something. What if he comes out and his answer to everybody is, yeah, it was common when I was playing, it was legal, and I did something.
He already came out and said he did andro.
I heard a report that he did andro. What if it goes further? What if he says he took a little HGH? What if he says, what happens then? What do these baseball holy grail people, these bullcrap voters and these better than you people, what do they do? Do they take back their vote?
Do they
boycott the Hall of Fame? Like what do they do? I'm really curious. Just he comes out, MLB Network or probably ESPN because they're crap and they'll freaking run with the soap opera news story. He comes out and says, "Yep, you know what? I got in, but absolutely I took something." What happens?
I don't know if there's much you can do then, but I think you're starting to get to a point where I think you're running out of people to vote for that haven't done something. It's just natural now. Any sport.
Yeah.
You telling me those basketball players aren't doing something?
I am under the so it's kind of unfair, right?
Yeah.
Because do 100% of athletes take performance enhancing drugs? No. But there's been such a large number of elite athletes who have gotten caught. Yeah. Whether it's Lance Armstrong, Bonds, Clemens, and they officially haven't been caught.
Yeah.
That they just because of their peers and the decisions they made, everyone gets lumped into the same category, which it's not fair, right?
Yep.
But you've got to look at it realistically. Take the blinders off.
Yeah.
And Mike Piazza was picked in the 62nd round as a favor to somebody.
Yep.
And he's in the Hall of Fame now?
It's crazy.
It's not real, is what I'm trying to say.
It's like you're saying. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
I'm sorry, but I really think it is, and I also just don't think Mike Piazza is a Hall of Famer. But I think there was something there to help him get. How do you go from a 60? That just it blows my mind a little bit.
Get that one shot.
Yeah, but another scenario with Piazza. Another thing that rumors have always swirled with him is his sexuality.
Yes, that was one of the things when you think of Mike Piazza, I was going to be like, I remember him coming out having to do a report that he wasn't gay.
He legit had a news conference saying he wasn't gay, which is insane.
Yeah.
Frosted tips.
He's like, yeah.
Okay, gay, not gay, whatever. Who cares? Okay, that's scenario number 2. Mike Piazza.
He comes out as gay.
Or it could be a double whammy. Yeah. Hey, I did HGH and I'm gay.
And here's my boyfriend.
No, seriously. Yeah. So then, how do these old-time baseball guys react? Because now you have a perfect forum.
Yep.
You're up there giving a speech in front of a national audience. You're one of two guys going into Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And you're up there advocating for gay rights and as a gay man. And does that open the door for, like, think about this. He could open the door for PED users in the Hall of Fame, and not only gays in the Hall of Fame, but gays in baseball.
Baseball in general.
And a part of me thinks that, if you're going to do it, go big.
Yeah.
Use it in a pot. But I don't know. Do you see that happening at all?
I doubt it.
Really?
Oof, that would be, holy cow. Talk about the double whammy.
And I just, probably nothing will happen. It'll be a boring speech. But I was driving home today and I'm thinking about it. And I go, you know what? I go, where there's smoke, there's usually fire.
Now, he's not married?
No, he's not married. He was dating some news reporter or something happened back in the day. But you hold a press conference. I know it was a little bit different like 10, 15 years ago. And the public wasn't as...
Well, that's how you get out of it. If, someone comes up, let's say he did come out, and you're like, well, why didn't you before? It's like you couldn't. Like, you couldn't. You could, but you couldn't.
Yeah, it was a different
world
time.
15 years ago.
So the Piazza thing is interesting to me. So much more to get into with this Hall of Fame thing. Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
So Ken Griffey Jr. to me he's my second favorite video game of all time on N64.
Yep.
Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball. And the first is MLB MVP Baseball, 2004-05.
Yep.
2005 Manny Ramirez
Yep,
on the cover.
on the cover.
But Griffey, to me, I don't know. I'm not saying he's not a Hall of Famer because he is.
You're nuts.
But I'm thinking of Griffey not being healthy. And you remember there was a time when Griffey went to Cincinnati, and he was no doubt, like, you can't get him into the Hall soon enough.
Yep.
And the last, it seemed, 5 or 6 years
Yep.
was him playing like 10 games a year. If he wasn't DHing, he was playing right field.
Yep.
I think he went to, Chicago for a year?
Then he went back to Seattle.
Then he went back to Seattle. I don't know. The memories I have of Griffey aren't the young kid climbing the wall. It's the old man trying to keep a job in the game. And I don't know. I what do you think?
I respectfully disagree.
Yeah?
I mean, anyone between the age of, let's call it 30 and 40, at some point he was probably your favorite player. No?
Okay, yeah.
And his first couple years in Cincinnati, I'm just looking up his stats now.
He's got over 600 home runs, right?
Correct.
Like, he was on pace to destroy Hank Aaron's all-time home run record.
Absolutely. So his first year in Cincinnati, 2000, he signed that big deal in Cincinnati. Now he's from Cincinnati. His dad played for the Reds.
Yeah. I thought he was traded there from Seattle. Wasn't like Mike Cameron part of the deal? He probably signed an extension.
Yes, I think he did. First year in Cincinnati, 145 games, 40 home runs, 118 RBIs.
Okay.
Second year in Cincinnati, 111 games, 22 home runs, 65 RBIs. That's not Ken Griffey Jr.
But it seemed like for the
next couple years, 70, 53, and 83 games. Then 2005, 128 games, 35 home runs, 92 RBIs.
What was his batting average that year?
It doesn't say.
Okay, so let me throw this out at you, okay? Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
Why does no one even talk about steroids with him?
I don't know. And I didn't want to touch it because if I found out he did steroids, I'd be like distraught.
No, but let's talk about this. It's such a double standard, and this is going to kind of be a theme of the podcast.
Yep.
But everybody's so hesitant to put Piazza in because of alleged steroid use.
Yep.
But then nobody even discusses it with Griffey because he just had that sweet swing, right?
Yeah.
And he just had that natural gifted talent. But you look at the end of his career, the guy had a little Nomar syndrome going where he tearing muscles off the bone.
Yeah.
And plus, you look at him now, he put on some weight, which to me is a sign of steroid users. You get older, you stop working out.
You're going to get a little fat.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten fat, and I didn't use steroids. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying. And
yeah.
I'm not saying he was on anything, but all I'm saying is how come people don't, I don't know. So that leads me to believe that there's an inner circle in baseball among the reporters, among the players.
Mm-hmm.
They know who did it, and they know who didn't.
Yep.
And I think it's a dead giveaway when you have people hesitating on Bagwell, on Piazza, on Clemens, on Bonds.
The thing with Bagwell is, wouldn't you? Do you kind of lump Bagwell in the category of he put up really good numbers, but because he was around for so long? Like, I almost put, like, Biggio's in, but you I
don't think Biggio's a Hall of Famer.
Like, but the point, like, so.
But he's in because he was around for so long.
That's what I'm saying. So he had 3,000 plus hits. Was it because he was really, really? Yes, it was because he was really,
Bagwell
really
had 3,000?
No,
Biggio.
But he also played like 25 years.
He legit played, I think, 23 years.
Yeah.
For the Houston Astros. Did he play anywhere else? I think it was just the Astros.
No, just the Astros.
Okay, so you have
infield, outfield, catcher, back to infield, played some outfield.
That's great. It's like a Brock Holt. Brock Holt a freaking Hall of Famer?
No.
But Craig Biggio, so you have Craig Biggio who retired after 23 seasons. You have Griffey who probably should have retired 5 years before he did.
Yep.
So it's almost like it hurt Griffey a little bit, but it didn't because he was almost a unanimous vote.
Yep.
And then Biggio gets in just because he hangs around for so long that they decide to throw him in.
So here's Griffey. 91, 22 home runs, 100 RBIs. 92, 27 home runs, 103 RBIs. 93, 45 home runs, 109 RBIs. 94, 40 home runs, 90 RBIs. 95, 17 home runs, 42 RBIs. That's the year that he broke his wrist running into the wall. Probably on pace to go about 50 and 100. Next year, 49 and 140. Following year, 97, 56 and 147. 98, 56 and 146. 99, 48 and 134.
So Manny puts up those same numbers in the same time span.
Yep.
And he's a user. Griffey puts up.
The problem with Manny is he's been caught.
Yeah, he's been caught, but
Yeah.
I think it's laughable how people can cast judgment on certain players and make assumptions when they don't even name these other players.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the voting process in general. How does baseball fix it? Do they need to fix it? What needs to be done? Because it seems really screwy right now.
I would go more towards like a panel, if you will. So here's the issue: is you have a limited number of votes you can have per year.
10.
Is it 10? I thought it was 12. 10. You could be 10. So, I mean, if you think there's 12 guys, now saying that I don't really think you can sit there each year and say there are 12 guys willing. This is the Hall of Fame we're talking about.
Like, you don't have to vote for 10 guys. You have 10 spots.
You can hand in a blank ballot if you want. If you feel that
you
there's
vote for one guy. Maz, I think, voted for 4 guys.
Yeah, you don't have to do the 10.
Yeah.
I think there's some stupid nuances to it. The fact that a guy like Ken Griffey Jr., like everyone's talking about Ken Griffey not being a unanimous Hall of Famer. He's not the first. Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous. Willie Mays, Ted Williams,
Joe
DiMaggio.
Yep.
I mean, the best of the best.
Yep.
Derek Jeter won't be because some idiot's going to not vote for him.
Yep.
Cal Rip, whoever. I feel like there's a lot of out of touch people that vote. Now, some people said that guys maybe don't vote for a guy like Ken Griffey Jr. because they sit there and they say, all right, well, I only have X amount of votes. I know Ken Griffey Jr. is going to get in, so I'm going to send my vote to someone that I think should get in but really, really needs my vote. That's just stupid to me. That is mind-blowing. Like, I don't get it.
Do you have any problem? Do you think so? Transparency is good, right?
Yeah.
Transparency is good in marriage.
Yep.
In friendships, in communication,
Yep.
just in general, right? Work life.
Yeah.
People being transparent.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe there's too much transparency with the Baseball Hall of Fame and the voting process? You've got, to me, Ken Griffey Jr. is a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
I don't care if everyone voted for him.
Well, and that's the thing is
he's a Hall of Famer. If three people,
and that's the way the NFL does it. It's like, all right, you're in, you're out.
Yeah.
And if you're Ken Griffey Jr. or Mike Piazza, you don't care if you get 75.1% of the votes or 100%, because ultimately you're a Hall of Famer.
So do you think that maybe baseball and, first of all, there are 440 people who voted this year.
Correct.
I think they're eliminating 100.
Okay.
So next year there will be 340.
Yep.
You need 340 people. No offense to Tony Maserati. Why is he voting for someone to get into the Hall of Fame?
Exactly. No, I know.
Why is he voting for someone to get into the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you take it seriously. Tom Verducci, Tim Kurkjian, Buster Olney. Okay, but why? It's a very asinine, ass backwards process. But I think that's too exposed. And I think if they're going to keep it this way and trim it down to 300 voters, fine. People make the ballot. If you don't get enough percentage to stay on, you let everyone know these people don't stay on. If Ken Griffey Jr. gets more than 75% of the vote, just say he got in.
Yeah.
I don't care how many votes
he got. Yeah.
That's just me. But what do you think?
I think on the flip side, I think the ballot is way too big. Like
well,
you
as
look
far
at
as how many players?
Like David Eckstein got 3 votes this year.
Yeah.
Like
Garrett Anderson got a vote.
Who would waste 3 votes on David Eckstein? No offense to David Eckstein, but
he was a very good baseball. He was a World Series MVP, wasn't he? He's a good baseball player.
Yeah. But it's just
the Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame.
And I kind of like how the NFL does it is they nominate who's going to be considered this year. Yeah. And then they kind of vote from there. I think they do like a nomination, then they say, all right, I'll just say 20. Out of these 20, we're down to 10. Then they announce the 10 that are in consideration, and then they get it down to, I don't think they have a certain number each year, but how many they feel out of that.
Yeah.
You look through it, and there shouldn't be 40 guys that it's the Hall of Fame.
So,
not the Hall of Very Good.
Which I think it might be turning into.
It's becoming too much of a numbers game. Like I hear guys, so they're talking about guys like Tim Raines or Trevor Hoffman or even an Alan Trammell, who, look, you want to make a debate that they're Hall of Famers? Fine. But now they're saying, oh, these guys are going to get in because next year the only real big addition is Vladimir Guerrero. So now there's more votes. That shouldn't be the reason why you get in.
You just hit the nail right on the head. Is if you're not a Hall of Famer this year, what makes you a Hall of Famer next year?
Your stats don't change. Your career is over.
Like, why did Jim Rice get in on his 15th and final year?
Because maybe there was no one else there.
But that to me, then you're not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not.
Yeah.
And some years you may have 10 people get in. Some years you may have no one get in.
And the trending up stuff, oh, well, he went from 52.1 to 61 and a half, so he's trending up if he continues this. I mean, realistically, you have 15 years to get in. So if you start at 50%, you're probably going to find your way pretty close to getting in.
So a couple of suggestions I've heard is I think right now you need at least 5% of the votes to stay on.
It's like ridiculously low.
Raise that to like 30.
Yeah.
You need 75% of the votes to get in.
Yep.
Raise that to 80. Raise it to 90.
Yeah.
Right. I take Luke to the doctor, or Lee does, and he height and weight in the chart.
Yep.
You're the 90th percentile.
Yeah.
Right. You're bigger. You're 10 kids. You're bigger than you're the biggest one out of the 10. Right. So why not? Why, if the Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame and it's the greatest of the greats?
Yeah.
75%. So you're telling me I go to school, I pass in my paper, I get a 75. I'm a Hall of Famer in that math class. Come on, that's crap.
Yeah.
I raise it to 90%. Bump it up there. You need 90% of the vote, or you ain't a Hall of Famer.
It's valid.
And then the other suggestion, or something else I thought of, you have to wait 5 years after you retire.
Yep.
Either eliminate that 5-year window. Why is there 5 years there?
Yep.
What happens in those 5 years?
I think that they do it for players that unretire, decide to come back, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Okay, so if you're not sure after 5 years, make it 10 years.
Yeah.
Go the opposite way. There's just, you and me, we're sitting here talking 10, 15 minutes about this, and we've thrown out some decent ideas.
Yeah.
I just feel like, is anyone doing this behind the scenes? Why aren't they like, you can make changes to how? I just think this whole
part
process,
of me wants to say no, they're not doing. They just keep it the way it is.
It's just maybe they like it because it brings attention to the game.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a Hall of Fame talk. Trevor Hoffman, Hall of Famer to you?
I thought he was. And I've actually been a little surprised at how many people I've read, watched, whatever, basically say no, not at all.
Can I say something about saves?
Yes, and I'm starting to think that Trevor Hoffman might be like what we were just talking about. He kind of was just good for a long time, so it made him look that much better.
Okay, so
and he also on the other flip side is I forgot this is he was really bad in the postseason.
He was really bad in the postseason. To me, people undervalue the save in baseball. They don't take it seriously.
Yep.
I know there are people who just think the statistic is a joke. I've never pitched at the professional level. I understand that. Those last 3 outs are, to me, the hardest outs to get in the game.
Yes.
And you need somebody who's not lucky, is good, knows what they're doing, to get those 3 outs. And I think you don't close out that game, you don't get the win, standings change. And I to me, saves, the Billy Wagners, the Trevor Hoffmans.
Yep.
I wouldn't put Papelbon up there just yet.
He doesn't have enough yet.
Mariano Rivera. Come on, Mariano Rivera. Do you know how many championships that guy won the Yankees on one pitch? To me, Trevor Hoffman's a Hall of Famer. Dennis Eckersley comes to mind, obviously. It's just
Eckersley also was a starter, too, which helped them a lot.
It's such a critical part of the game, and it bugs me when I hear people, he's a closer. Saves don't mean anything. And it's like, no, they do. They mean a lot.
Someone on television basically, I don't know who it was, related it to a kicker. And I'm like, no, it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, but I'll even make an argument for a kicker. The Patriots won 2 or 3 Super Bowls without Vinatieri.
He's got to be a Hall of Famer,
Absolutely. There's no question about it. So you get kickers, closers, and then DHs, which if, Edgar Martinez, to me, should probably be in the Hall of Fame.
See,
he was the best at his position.
And Ortiz's numbers are better. He's got to be a Hall of Famer.
See, but then I say he was the best at his position, but then Mike Piazza was the best at his position.
Yeah.
So I'm contradicting myself. It's a pain in the ass. I hate this whole process. So let's get off Baseball Hall of Fame unless you have some other hot take.
Nope. But next year's Vladimir Guerrero is your guy next year. No doubter, if you ask me.
Think Schilling's going to get in? I think he might be getting up there.
I think so. I think he's one of those guys that, as they talk about trending up.
Is that you? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was me. All right, let's switch completely. Next head coach of the New York... No, screw hockey. You know what's funny is the short time the Bruins were good.
Yeah.
I don't think they were really good for a little while. They were.
You actually texted me. You're like, "Hey, we got to talk hockey."
I know, and then they suck again.
So everyone watched. Well, no one outside of New England watched the Winter Classics. The ratings was terrible, and you're all excited. It's a great setting, and they just lay that big egg. You can't do that as a hockey team. NHL is more like the MLS than it is like the NBA. You have to take advantage of your opportunities like that.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of funny, the whole Bruins thing? It came and went so quickly, huh?
Yeah.
And all the little Bruins fans are home, not watching the games, no more Facebook posts.
Yeah.
Twitter tweets or whatever.
They lost again. They lost to the Capitals.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah.
Next head coach of the New York Football Giants, Bill Belichick. What do you think? Is it possible?
I'm going to say no, and the only reason I would say no is because he's under contract, and they would have to go through Kraft in order to get permission, and I think he says no.
Okay, what if his contract's up at the end of the season?
Now, saying that, to your point, no one knows his contract. He has a clause in his contract where it's completely private.
Yeah.
So
we
don't know how much
clause.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, to have that clause is pretty impressive.
And so no one knows what he makes. No one knows what's the length. It could be 10 years. I'll tell you what.
Is there a 1% chance it could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 1% chance.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If this was 2009, 2010, I'd say there'd be a big percentage chance.
Because Eli Manning would be, what, a little...
Yeah, and I think the Patriots at that time are a little more of a state of flux. Remember 2009, they made the playoffs, but they weren't great, and Brady was coming off his injury, and he looked better. And then going into 2010, a lot of people expected him to take a step back because they were so young. Look, bottom line is Bill Belichick's always talked about how much he loves that organization. Yep. Rightfully so. They gave him his first big job, and he was there when Parcells was there, and Romeo Crennel was there, and Tom Coughlin was there, and Sean Payton was there.
Yep.
The one thing I will say is if they do decide to interview McDaniels, I think Belichick's going to say, hey, look, this is a job that doesn't come up very often. You need to take this job.
I think the Giants, being in New York, they need to hire a head coach.
Yeah.
They need to hire a manager of people. They need to hire someone with some credibility.
Yeah.
They can't bring in like a Steve Spagnuolo or even a Josh McDaniels to me.
Yeah.
You need to bring in
Nick Saban.
a Nick Saban. Do you say Nick Saban?
Yeah.
I was just going to say Nick Saban. You've got to bring in a Bill Belichick. You've got to bring in a Sean Payton type of guy.
Yeah.
Because it's New York and
Sean Payton
Giants.
was with Parcells in New York, so he's
Okay, so I'm going out there now, and I'm putting it out there, and I called Adam the other day, all excited. They were talking about it a little on the radio, but I thought about it a couple weeks ago, not specifically about the Giants, but just if you're another team and you have a head coach opening, why not just place that call to the Pats? Why not just pick up the phone and call?
Yeah.
Okay, no, whatever. If I'm the Giants, I am planting every little seed. Maybe they don't even have to because the media is doing it for them.
Yeah.
You're human. Bill Belichick, as much as we think he's a robot and he's a machine, he's human. And I bet you a little piece in his mind, he's thinking for that split second, yeah, okay, New York Giants.
No, you know what? For that split second he's thinking,
yeah,
man, what if I win a Super Bowl without Brady?
Yeah. I think...
What if I go to New York and win a Super Bowl?
Okay, and another thing people are forgetting, and maybe New England fans are just so naive, because everyone's dismissing it on the radio about this. They're not even taking it seriously. Kraft would never let that happen. How sure are you that Kraft and Belichick are on good terms?
You don't know.
How sure are you that Brady and Belichick are on good terms?
Don't know.
So you sit here and say, maybe Belichick wants to win without Brady. Maybe Brady wants to win without Belichick.
Very true.
Maybe Kraft wants to win without Belichick.
Maybe.
Because I was here. This leads into my next hot take. Bill Belichick leaves New England. Kraft stays. Brady stays. Does that cheating, does that stench go with him, or does it stay in New England?
Oof.
You associate it with Belichick, don't you? You don't associate it with the Patriots.
Yes.
The cheating and the awkwardness and like the scandals.
Yeah.
You associate it with Bill Belichick.
You know what? It's funny. I was listening to the radio and they were talking a little bit about this. Burt Breer was on and he basically said, because a couple of years ago, Burt Breer came on and he's like, yeah, Belichick kind of would like to try and win somewhere else if possible.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's probably not going to happen, but. And he said when Parcells left, I think he got fired. I don't know if he fired or...
In New England?
No, in New York. Yeah. Belichick was still there. And I don't remember the GM's name. And the Maras that own the Giants loved Bill Belichick. And the guy that hired as a GM absolutely hated Bill Belichick. And he's been quoted as saying that Bill Belichick's the worst human being in the NFL. And it had something in his contract that said, I will be the GM as long as Bill Belichick is not the head coach. Doesn't like him. Just think he's a bad human being, whatever. The point of the story is that going back, Wellington and John Mara probably would have liked to hire Belichick as the head coach back then. Didn't get the chance. That's why he had to go to Cleveland. But it's interesting.
I think it should get more play. I think it should be taken more seriously. And I think people are naive to think that Belichick, Brady, and the Krafts are best friends.
Yeah.
That they text each other at night and go to the movies on. I don't. maybe they have an okay working relationship.
Yep.
But the Spygate, the Deflategate, I bet you it's wearing on the Crafts.
Yep.
And they would, I think, and again, I have no sources. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I feel like they put a lot of the heat on Belichick.
Yeah.
And if he was to leave and go, then I don't think it would be the end of the world for them. They Josh McDaniels, you're up. Go to town, kid.
The problem with the Giants job is they've already said they won't let someone come in and just be the coach,
unless
GM.
you're Bill Belichick. Seriously, you're not gonna let Josh McDaniels come in and do that. You're not gonna let Steve Spagnuolo do that. But Bill Belichick, I think if the it gets out and it gets back to Belichick,
Yeah.
and then he goes to somebody or he sends a quick. He probably wouldn't send a text because that's evidence.
Yeah.
But if he said, "Hey, Krugs, just mention to them that I'm listening.
Yeah.
I hear them. Tell them to wait."
Yeah.
Okay, then the Giants, I think, are okay. That's Bill's interested. If the Giants don't name a head coach by the Super Bowl, I'm 100% convinced that Bill Belichick's gone.
I wouldn't say that, but
no, not the Super Bowl, maybe until the Patriots get eliminated against Kansas City at home or whatever. January 16th.
Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take?
I don't know. I think the Pats are it's gonna be tough, but
it could happen.
Anything can happen in sports.
Yeah, and I think you kind of.
He's not going to Cleveland.
No.
He ain't going back there. He's not going to Tampa Bay.
But don't you kind of think of it as one of those things where it's not a college, but it's almost like your alma mater. You see these college coaches that are coaching at Oklahoma, and let's say they went to Ohio State, and the Ohio State job opens up.
So you're talking about the Giants?
Yeah, it's like his first love.
That's a great point.
So I guess my point is, I'm trying to think of a coach that did. It's, you sit there and you're a coach and you hear of all the openings, and if you went to a certain school and you're like, whoa, the Ohio State job might open.
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, like a Harbaugh. Oh, the Michigan job might.
Or John, whoever took it.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, that interest.
Another point
or kind of, hey, just keep me in the loop. Let me know.
Okay, so play devil's advocate, and I'll ask myself a question and answer it. All right, well, how come Belichick hasn't shown interest in the Giants job since, or in the last 5 years ago? Coughlin's been there for 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
It hasn't been an opening. Coughlin was a good coach.
Yeah.
Won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things that kind of perks his ear a little bit.
I just have this feeling. I think in New England, you obviously with the Red Sox, even the Celtics, I mean, Ray Allen was my favorite player on that team, the Big Three. Then he went to Miami, and I can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
I still like him, but you know what I mean. I just feel like this could end badly because it always does. The Steelers seem to next man up, whether it's a quarterback or a head coach.
Yep.
And then they're there forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that can happen in New England. I just feel like because of the media and the fan base, Belichick ain't going to end well.
Yeah.
Brady's going to say something stupid, whether it has to do with politics or just making a dumb comment, and the fans are going to jump down his throat.
Yeah.
And I just see... I said years ago I thought Brady wouldn't finish his career in New England.
Yeah. I
see him finishing with the 49ers back out west. And it just wouldn't surprise me if everyone parts ways and they move on. And then you get to see, all right, Bob and John Kraft.
You got Johnny Manziel as your quarterback.
But are you really as into it as you lead us on to think? Or are you just in it for the money, and as soon as those guys leave, see you later, Pats?
Yeah, sell.
You selling, are you stepping out of the spotlight? If you're not winning 10, 12 games a year, are you going to be as upfront and as vocal with the Pats? I think everyone's going to get exposed in the next 5 years, 5, 10 years about, all right, when the going's good and you're winning championships, everyone loves each other.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone leaves or something happens, I think people are going to run for the hills. And it's just my take on the Pats, but I don't know. Sticking with football, speaking of double standards, we talked about the Baseball Hall of Fame, HGH, steroid claims.
Yeah.
You've got one of the best quarterbacks statistically of all time, Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Okay, let's forget about whether or not he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He used HGH. Why is this being brushed under the rug? And why is this not getting the coverage that a baseball-related story would get?
Yep.
Or B, if it was Tom Brady? Why is everyone not even giving this any type of credible reaction?
It's mind-blowing, to be honest with you.
Like Tom Brady in that Deflategate came out and he
got hammered.
But he did not say, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
No, this person's lying. Peyton Manning doesn't even really get accused of anything. A news story breaks that says his wife got shipments of HGH.
That's
never accused him of doing it.
And they said, hey, look, we've never said he's done HGH. Yeah.
So he comes out and he fires back right.
Yeah.
Before I even heard the report, I heard the report of Manning denying it.
Yep.
And you've got guys on ESPN Monday Night Football going,
see that? He didn't do it.
Hey,
he didn't
listen,
do it.
Chris Carter, hey, he said he didn't do it, so I know he didn't do it.
Yeah.
What?
Why? How do you know that?
You're the same. So I'm just. Talk to me, Krugs. What in the world is going on with that situation? Because it's really weird to me.
Don't you feel like it's, for me, where there's smoke, there's fire?
Yes.
I guess what I would think is maybe everyone knows that this is a little bigger than we've already learned.
Yep.
And it could get ugly. So they're trying to do the recant right away.
Yeah.
I'm numb to the point of HGH stories. Like, I saw it on Twitter and I was like, all right, whatever. Peyton Manning did HGH. Who cares?
Right.
And like you care, but the media just backing him to the grave. He said he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Yeah, Payne's he's got good character.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He wouldn't do that kind of stuff. Well, no, he had a broken neck, and now he's 38. Well, last year he was putting up 45, 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he comes back the year after he misses the season.
And has a record-breaking year.
It was his first year with Denver, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He throws 7 touchdown passes in his first game back.
Yep.
Goes on to break Tom Brady's season TD record, and nobody bats an eye.
Yeah.
So HGH, and you said it, it's almost become acceptable.
Yeah.
You see a headline, so-and-so took HGH, but you have this news story break out of Indianapolis, this little strip mall medical place. Yep. Biogenesis, when it included mostly baseball guys.
Yeah.
It was like the FBI was investigating.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Baseball's investigating. Ryan Braun got suspended
for a year, right?
For the he missed 60. It was like 60-something games, maybe.
Yep.
And then you've got this, and it's like.
And then the NFL's like, yeah, we're looking into it.
Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll get to it when we can. It just it drives me nuts, and it's so obvious. The other thing that I read about Peyton Manning was he went to Germany. He did like the Kobe Bryant thing.
Yep.
Where when
I did not hear this.
When he had the neck surgery, he went to Germany to have a procedure done, which is just doesn't that raise
That's not
red
slimy.
flags?
Yeah. Why not in the U.S.? You just want to go to Germany.
So it's just all the signs are pointing. All right, your wife gets shipments of HGH, and somebody brought up a good point. If it was for fertility or something to do with womanly issues, and that's your wife, why don't you just come out and say, "Listen"?
And wouldn't you think that you would have like something behind that? Like say, hey, like you don't want to say, hey, this is my wife's issue. Here's the documents.
Yeah.
But you would have that.
You would almost gain more sympathy from the public, right?
Yeah.
Like Ashley Manning comes out, if that's her name.
Yeah, that is.
Which, by the way, have you ever seen a picture of Ashley Manning?
No.
Never even knew Peyton Manning was married or had like 4 kids.
Yep.
So Ashley Manning comes out and says, listen, I got the HGH shipments because my hormone count is low and we're trying to get pregnant.
Yep.
And that's why we had it. The public's going to go, oh, my God, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Look, she's telling the truth. Nothing like that has come out.
Nope.
And you've got a guy who's battling to get to all these career records. You can tell he has the
hanging on for his career for dear life.
And he's such an egomaniac. He wants these single season records. He wants to break these career records, right? And he's falling apart at the seams. I mean, in his late 30s, he has major neck surgery, misses a year, and then signs a 5-year deal with Denver to keep playing just to break records. So it's a sense of physical conditioning, breaking down, your body giving up on you. And then second, just your ego getting in the way, right?
Yep.
And then you just mentally, you go and get the HGH or whatever the hell it is.
Well, what's he do now? Ryan Howard and Ryan Zimmerman have already sued.
Okay, so
now Peyton Manning has to sue, right? If he doesn't sue, then clearly what they did was right.
So they filed, right? They I don't know the legal terms. Should get your sister on the line. But they filed suit, right?
Yep.
So whether or not, I'll be interested to see whether or not they actually go to court.
Yeah.
Because the only way to win a defamation case is everything's going to be put on the table.
Yeah. Yep.
So you've got to think long and hard if you really want to move forward with that, because if they don't uncover that, they might uncover something else.
and it's one of those things where you got to sit down and say, all right, so you might not have done it here, but if you've done it somewhere else, they're probably going to find out.
Doesn't it just reek of like Peyton Manning and his people running around to Zimmerman and Howard? And I think Tyler Twellman was he was mentioned too on this thing.
Clay Matthews was in it.
Mike
Harrison.
Neal. Don't you think it's just everyone running around to each other saying, "Don't say anything, don't say anything"? And I feel like they got to that Sly person.
So they had that British woman from Al Jazeera on Dennis and Callahan.
Okay.
And she said that Sly, like 3 weeks before, he got like an email and a hard copy of basically everything that he said that they were going to put in the documentary, whatever it was. He signed off on it, and then they sent stuff to the Mannings like, "Hey, here we got this. Here, you got any thoughts? Anything you got for us? Want to, So I'm starting to think that right before it came out, and they kind of told him when it was going to come out.
Yeah.
And right before it came out, Manning got to Sly and said, "Hey,
we'll pay you.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to give you this. Shut up. Deny it, and then shut up."
Yeah.
Because now you dig a little deeper, and he's connected to a guy who is the trainer for all of these guys. And it's like, it doesn't take much to do some research.
Yeah.
The other thing that baffles me, too, is let's say Ashley Manning really is just ordering HGH for her womanly issues.
Yeah.
Because of the high profile that your husband has, why wouldn't you just have it ordered or do it another way?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would you, like, you ordering HGH or Jen ordering HGH or Lee, whatever, no one cares. We're not superstar celebrity
and that comes
athletes.
with being a superstar, not just an athlete, a singer or whatever.
So why don't you just be like, "Hey, put the order in, I'll come pick it up," or have someone else go pick it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess if it's your medication, you have to pick it up. But I just feel like there could be another way to keep it. Like, there's not much. It's almost like the thought process, like, "Oh, don't worry, we're not going to get caught.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to know. Who cares? I'm Peyton Manning. Don't worry about it."
It's just stupid.
Anyways, it's a double standard, because now Peyton Manning, when it comes time to put him in Hall of Fame, he's breaking all these like, nobody's even questioning whether or not, like, he's breaking all these records. No one's even questioning
if he's did it clean.
Did it clean, because it's such the norm now.
Yeah.
Especially in football, but then baseball, someone might do it, and then they're barred from the
questioned.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts on that?
I think more than anything, it's that bothers me is the media's coverage of it. Jim Nantz admitted that he wasn't going to go near it. on the broadcast, and they asked him why. This is Mike Franciosa. He goes, "Well, it's a non-story." It's like it's the biggest story in America.
But it's just isn't it crazy how the year started with Deflategate and Tom Brady, and it's ending with Peyton Manning and HGH.
Yeah,
and it couldn't be two quarterbacks who went head to head for so many years, so many debates about who was better, who is better, and now it's like. It's just total opposite ends of the spectrum. And maybe it's because Manning does the commercials, talks to the media, gives real answers, and Brady doesn't. So it's like somebody has to write a book or do a movie on this because you can't make this stuff up.
Why did Brady come to Manning's defense right away, and Manning has never come to Brady's defense on the Deflategate?
That's another topic.
Unless he did, and I don't remember it. But
no, from what I understand, I think Manning was asked about it.
Is Manning just a jerk?
I don't know. I don't know. It's I'm telling you, 10, 15 years, 10, 15 years, I want to see what people say and, what people think. I want to hear some backstories come out. Like, I want to hear, like, a tell-all.
Yeah.
Because if the Patriots are cheating all the time, doesn't somebody come out and say something? Like Mangini came out, right, for Spygate.
Well, you would think we're at the point now where it's been 15 years. So you've had players that have played them that have retired, coaches that have been there, retired, and nothing no one's ever put like there's rumors or unnamed sources, but no one's ever said, yeah, this is exactly what happened. We went to New England. My name's James Harrison. We went to New England. They did this, this, and this, and I have proof.
Yeah. It's all like, no, they did this because somebody told me they did this.
Oh, we lost? Yeah, they were cheating.
3 major topics we just covered. I know NFL playoffs are coming up. The Pats, it's always something new with New England, whether it's, Pats suck right now.
Yep.
Celtics suck right now.
Yep.
Bruins suck right now.
Yep.
Thankfully, the Red Sox aren't playing. But they just got another mascot. Tessie now.
Wally's got a sister,
which is kind of funny. Patriots are going into the playoffs backwards. Do I think they lost on purpose? No, I don't. I don't think that they didn't try.
Yeah.
I think they tried and they lost. But they've got a bye. They finished as the 2nd seed. So you're looking at most likely what? Kansas City or
you have either Kansas City, Houston, or Cincinnati. The only team you can't play is the Steelers because they're the last seed, and if they win, they're going to Denver.
So Kansas City, Houston, or
Cincinnati.
I tell you what, man, Kansas City, they've won
Kansas
10
City's
games
won
in
10
a row.
Yeah,
that's not a fluke.
Count me as concerned.
Who would you? I tell you,
with the Patriots in general. Now, does that mean that I think that they're going to go out there and lose next Saturday? No. I've said it from the beginning. I don't, although statistically it hasn't been backed up. It's been backed up that it's not true. I just don't think it's as easy to just flip the switch and go.
Especially guys coming back from injury like Edelman. I mean,
Edelman hasn't played since November 15th. So by then it'll be he would have missed 2 whole months.
Yeah.
January 16th they play.
Unless he's been going full speed and
unless he's just doing crazy practice stuff.
Yeah.
So in regards to the Miami game, all right, look, if after the Titans game they beat the Titans, the Broncos lose, they come out, it's guaranteed they get a first-round bye. If after that Belichick said, look, would we love the 1 seed? Absolutely. But our focus now is getting healthy. We have the bye. We're less concerned going on the road, more concerned being healthy. Yeah. Okay, fine. Disagree to an extent. I feel like the Patriots are a different team in Foxborough. But if you're going to do that, do it. If you're going to Miami saying, look, if we can go down there and win, great, but we're not putting anyone in danger, why is Brady out there? Why is Gronk out there? Why is Jamie Collins out there? If you're just going to say, hey, look, if we win, great. If not, and Denver wins and we're the 2 seed and we're fine with that, we can live with that, forfeit the game,
Doesn't Belichick at times look like an absolute genius? But then he just at times looks like an absolute moron.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing with the Eagles, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah.
But that stupid kick which changed the momentum.
Yeah.
Overtime, deciding to.
I actually texted Mike when they scored, and they scored to tie it or make it 20-19. I said, go for two. I said, go for two. The less football, the better. You get in overtime, someone else is going to get hurt. If you're going to go for two and you don't get it, well, at least you lost in regulation. No one else is getting hurt. I knew he wouldn't do that. Here's my concern. So you look at their 4 losses, right? At Denver. Okay.
Should have won that game, though.
Should have won, but at the beginning of the year, a completely healthy team, you circled that one. That one's going to be really tough. Yep. So you're not surprised they lost. At the Jets, good team, playoff team, 10-win team. At the Dolphins, shouldn't happen. It's the Dolphins game and it's the Eagles game. You win one of those. Let's be honest, it's the Eagles game. You win that game, you literally don't have to show up for the last 2 games.
Yeah, I know.
Because you would have had the number 1 seed wrapped up.
I know.
You could have told Brady to don't even have to fly.
With that being said, we'll podcast plenty of times before this is all said and done, but AFC champion. Who represents the AFC in the Super Bowl? If you had to pick right now. Not knowing, week 2 matchups, but
very, very, very little confidence. I still think the Patriots are the best team.
Okay, NFC.
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Really?
Now, everyone keeps saying the Seahawks.
You're not jumping on the Redskins bandwagon?
No. Although
Excuse me, Washington.
Yeah. Although they've played a lot better than that anyone ever thought they would. Here's my concern with the Seahawks. They're the 6th seed. They are guaranteed to not play a home game. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with that they're so good at home. So this weekend they're going to Minnesota. It's going to be about -1 degrees of a high.
Yeah.
If they win, they know they're going to Carolina.
Oof.
And if you win that, you're probably going to Arizona. So 3 straight weeks, you're at Minnesota, at Carolina, at Arizona.
Well, if they get there, they'll earn it.
Remember a couple years ago, the 49ers did this? They were like the 6th seed. They went out to Green Bay. Actually, my daughter was born that day. I remember watching it in the hospital. It was like freezing cold. They go out there. They win on a field goal. They go straight to Carolina because Carolina is the 1 seed. They go out and win there. Then they have to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
They go there, and they're up at half, and they just
hit a wall.
You know what?
I don't remember, but yeah.
It was the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They were losing at halftime, and then the 49ers just, I don't know if it was jet lag or something, just hit a wall. It's just, I think for the Seahawks, it's going to be a lot tougher.
So you're looking Cardinals, Pats.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we podcast on January 30th and it's the Broncos, it wouldn't surprise me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize how tough it is to go into Denver and win.
Just because of the Colorado. And
I just feel like it's one of those places that weird stuff happens.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You just
Tim Tebow won a game there.
Yeah.
Didn't he a playoff game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad weather, but I always give the Patriots the advantage in bad weather. Now on the flip side, you can say, well, we went there on a Sunday night. If we catch one punt, we beat them without Amendola, without Edelman. Gronk got hurt. Yeah. No Dante Hightower.
Steelers scare you at all? Their receiving core, they have some pretty good
their defense
wide receivers.
Is a struggle, though. I think I've always felt that Belichick does a pretty good job exposing their defense.
Really?
Yeah.
See, Steelers make me nervous. The Chiefs,
bonus with the Steelers is that they got to do it here. They've got to come to Foxborough.
Kansas City would have to come here. Andy Reid, to me, I just want to poke him in his belly and make him laugh.
Yeah.
The Bengals, I'm not afraid of. Andy Dalton or no Andy Dalton. But
the Texans come here. That's probably who I feel the best about.
Yeah, Texans and Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
But they'll be out for blood because the Patriots have been embarrassing them for the last 2 or 3 years, going back to the Puffy Jacket game. So
those were the best of varsity. It's going to be interesting. Now, look, they could very easily go out 2 Saturdays from now and throw up 45, and the offense is clicking again.
45-7 win, and then it's okay,
offense,
Super Bowl bust.
Yeah, and then it's just I just don't think it's as easy to flip on the switch.
Yeah.
But we really haven't seen it hey, bottom line is injuries, no injuries. First 8 games, 8-0. Second 8 games, 4-4.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Fastest 60 minutes in sports.
That was 60 minutes already?
Yeah.
Wow.
We really only talked about 3 things. Any other thing you want to talk about? It's the first podcast of the new year, so Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the year in review. That was a fun episode. So.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The little things you forget throughout the year.
Yeah.
Like the little stuff.
Well, I had the Spurs as NBA champions before the podcast, reviewing some notes. Egg?
You said it, and I'm like, God, I don't remember them winning the NBA championship. But even I completely forgot about like Mayweather, Pacquiao, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of just some wrestling news real quick.
Yep.
John Cena is having shoulder surgery either today or tomorrow.
Yep.
And it's WrestleMania season. Yeah. So he's going to miss WrestleMania, which is all their big stars are out, which is kind of crazy.
Did you see Gronk at the there was something at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence?
Yeah, there was a wrestling TV. So there's a rumor that WWE partnered with Tap Out for like T-shirts and apparel, but I think Tap Out wants to open some type of gym in Buffalo, and they want to sponsor or team up with Gronk.
He is from Buffalo.
Yeah.
And
so
don't you feel like that'd be right up his alley?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think they somehow are going to have some type of working relationship, some type of working sponsorship. So
we didn't touch much on the Celtics.
No, they suck right now, so there's nothing to talk about. The NBA is, I don't know, I've like I told you, I mean, I don't have cable anymore, and I've been trying to follow along with NBA highlights and stuff, but
you're kind of in that quote-unquote dog days of January, February. Guys are taking breaks, and
it's like when March comes, once spring training starts, and I'll getting back, and just that's when the Super Bowl and.
Although the the Warriors and the Spurs haven't lost at home yet.
It's funny to see the Spurs. I think they obviously have the second best record in the NBA.
One of the stats geeks came out and said that the Spurs statistically have been more dominating this year than the Warriors.
Really?
They've just lost a couple more games.
Hey, I tell you what, they got off to a great start. They were a lot of fun. It was fun when they came to Boston, the Warriors. Steph Curry's hurt right now.
I read something that he's going to play through an injury, the shin injury, that you would usually have to sit out a month for it. I'm like, what are you, nuts?
Sit your butt down.
That's what I'm saying. You got to be ready for April, May, and June, right?
Just the way they play. They're fun to watch. They're 26-0, whatever they started.
Yep.
Was a lot of fun, and they're very entertaining, and they're well-knit group.
Yep.
But that's just a very aggressive style and Curry to me isn't LeBron.
Yep.
He as far obviously physically. And he's got little skinny legs.
Well, you see it with Durant. Durant's starting to kind of break down.
Durant's starting to break down, and I hope everyone stays healthy. I wish there was a magic
pill. You got to do
it
like Popovich. Popovich on a TNT game sits his first top 5 guys and just says, "Yeah, we're going to take one. We're going to lose this one."
Yeah, more people should do that. Well, Krugs, good talking to you.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the other side.
Sounds good.
Bye.